Alrighty, we are streaming. Let's double check here. There we go. Alrighty, so last time we left off, so I've done a couple things. So since the last time we left off, developing our character sheet, I went ahead and fixed a couple bugs. So right now, if I do .NET run, we are up and running, where we should be, assuming nothing else is broken. But we're gonna launch this, and what we're gonna be doing today, hopefully we're gonna be adding in, I think we'll do items first, so equipment. So we're gonna be moving over logic about items and double checking that it all makes sense and stuff, and moving it over from the old repository. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead real quick and just throw this over here. I just want to say, if anybody wants on the Sharp Discord wants to say hi and hang out. Okay. Alrighty. I just want to click on this to make sure my link works. Yep, it does. Cool. Okay. So let's get on into it. So today we're trying to add in the items, and kind of what I want it to look like is kind of over here. We always go back to I really should have a macro at this point, or I should have like a shell script that does all this for me, because I keep having to go back up here. So I'll do next develop. Oops. So we're looking for here is like equipment. So we want equipment. We want each of the equipment to display its name, its quantity. So technically each of these items in here is going to be called an item stack. Kind of like how in Minecraft you don't really have an item. You have like a stack of items generally. So this will be an item stack. And then yeah, so then chain armor here, these are all just be item stacks, and you could have multiple stacks of this item if you're carrying a bunch of this. Pretty self-explanatory. And so first things first, we need to set up our library to take in this new type. And what's really handy is I've actually done this in the past, so we can go ahead and we can look at our old repository here. We can go to Fallen Library here. So we are looking here. We care about this item stuff right now. So we are going to move over some of this stuff here. So, oh, I'm sorry. So actually first we need to list out all this stuff. And so essentially, and actually I don't like this here. This is bad. We'll have to change that. Because every item should have a name, its class, its tier, its value, and its weight, but then it also might have some item effects. So we're going to restructure this, but we are going to start with the most basic stuff. So if I scroll up here, we've done a lot of this stuff. We're going to do item stats to start with. Now, conduit class, we don't even need conduit class anymore because conduit class is just a conduit is just a item that works as a, and actually I might change the name. It's a magic focus. So it's literally just an item that lets you augment your magic skill roll with base dice modifications. So we will need a weapon resource class for sure. Let's double check this. A weapon resource class is a name, a resource class. So this is like arrow, whatever. Arrow, bolt, bullet, or like handgun bullet. Then we have a resource dice. So this is how many dice you gain from the weapon resource. It's penetration, it's range option. So this would be like if the weapon or the bullet is like a magic arrow that goes further. And then we have damage types here. And then we have an area of effect option. So this all looks good to me. So we're just going to copy this part over. This all looks good to me. Actually, let's just keep going. So then we have weapon class. And a weapon class has a name. It has a one-handed dice modifier. And yeah, so the reason why here the one-handed dice is an option is because, and actually this might be something where I need to rethink it. These might both need to be options here. When I originally designed this, my thought process was, okay, if you have like a dagger, you can use a dagger in one hand, but you can also use it in two hands. And there's almost no weapon that you couldn't put like two hands kind of on it. Even if it's a dagger, you put a hand over the other hand, that counts as two-handing the weapon. But I hadn't considered like claws and like innate weapons. And so these might both need to be options here because like you shouldn't be able to, you can't two-hand your own claw, right? If you had two claws you could, but that would be dual wielding claws. And so really that should be an option. So really that should be an option. Penetration's good, range is good, damage type is good. We don't want this to be a damage type list. We want this to be a damage type set actually. And that's another thing we're going to try to get better about. Using lists for everything is not smart. If there is a list where we know that the items contained within are only going to ever show up once, so like within a damage type list, there should only be one instance of fire damage, right? And so you don't want multiple people saying fire damage multiple times because it's explicit. You already said it once, that's all it needs. So that's a problem, okay? Then engageable opponents here, that's good. Dual wield bonus, that's also good. There's some weapons that don't get dual wield bonuses. We have the area of effect and the resource class. And that all looks good as options. And then last here, we have the container class. Pretty self-explanatory, and then we have item tier. So I think we just want all of this, and then we're going to customize it over here. So we do want this to change quite a bit. So we can grab this here. And what's nice is also I have all the CSV data too, almost all ready to go. So we're going to go over here. We're going to close all our editors here. We're going to look for, bless me, I'm going to sneeze again. Ah! We're going to Fogent roleplay lib. We're going to close this. I actually want to fold everything here. So then, I'm assuming this stuff will go in item building here. So we'll go ahead and close all this. Actually, we're gonna want to open all this up because we gotta customize each of these. So we don't need magic skill. Ooh, actually, now a magic skill before, because actually we do have magic skills. We actually do have magic skills, don't we? Under, hold on. Vocational skills. There is a magic skill. Now the question is, do I want to build the conduit as range adjustment? Yeah, conduit. And actually, I don't know, why did I even drag over the conduit here? This is stupid. I don't need this. Or no, I do need a conduit class, but I do need a conduit class, but it needs to be way simpler. It should literally just be the name and the conduit class should literally just be I think it's literally just a string. Because everything else here I do not need. Magic skill affected. I think that's literally what a conduit class is. It just says, hey, and honestly, maybe I can generalize this because at this point, it's not even really a conduit class. There are certain items, or there's a list of effects that should apply the item tier to a higher order we're going to leave that for right now. I think this might even get simplified even further here. We have our first iteration here. So we have a resource class, which is a string. We have a magic class, which is our conduit class, which affects a magic skill. Then we have a weapon resource class. This all looks good. Weapon resource class option to weapon resource class. So this just converts it if it doesn't have the, what's it called here? Good. We might even be able to get rid of this actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We'll cross that bridge. We can add the mod here. Weapon class has these things. It's gonna have an option here though. Okay. Then we have a container class. And if I'm not mistaken here, we also have volume here. We will go ahead and add that. I don't think it's really necessary, but okay, then we have, and I believe it's a volume in feet cubed. Feet cubed. Then we can say item tier has a name, a level, rune slots, the base dice. And now rune slots isn't the correct term we're using anymore. It should be it's like effect slots now, if I'm not mistaken. What's the terminology? Yeah, it's not even it just has a required tier now for effects. So actually we don't even need this rune slot anymore. This guy's just gone. Okay, cool. So then hypothetically, we have all of this now. So we have weapon class, container class, all this good stuff. So then let's go ahead and kill our server so it stops complaining. We are gonna go ahead and go over here and make sure that this data is coming in correctly now. So we can go over to our server. Magic skill data. We do care about magic skill data, that's good. So as for conduit class here, this guy gets way simplified. Like it gets simplified so much that I don't even know if it's what's it called here. We're gonna come back to this one, hold on. Container class, this should be really easy. Can't you do like Shift V and then do some really cool no. This does multi-line, right? Yeah. How do I So this should be a container class. It's going to open Fogent roleplay lib dot container class. And I don't even know if I want to call it class. Like saying class every time might not be worth it. So let's go over here. Instead of container class, we can just call it weapon, weapon resource. We don't need to put class at the end of everything. It's redundant. Why is this guy angry? Hold on. Why are you getting angry at me? Duplicate weapon class? Oh. Well, we'll just delete this then. And then we're going to rename weapon class here to just be weapon. Then weapon resource here can just become class. Or weapon resource, and then weapon resource can just become weapon resource. And then a resource class can just be a resource. And honestly, at this point, why doesn't this just get moved under here? Because this really only... like is used for weapon resource names. We'll leave it for now, but I'm going to rename it. Resource. Maybe just resource name. And then let's see, resource name. Resource name. Dice pool mod. Penetration range option. And then damage types here, we do want this to be a set. Okay. Okay, looking good. Go down here to dice pool. Our weapon is a name, a one-handed dice. Actually, why don't I just work with this and rename this at the end, because I guarantee that some of the functions that I move over are not gonna respond. So we'll just do this at the end. Damage type set. Okay, this looks good, and we got no errors, right? We have errors on our test, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead, save this. Added in new Fogent types. Cool. So we got over all these new types here. So then let's start reading them in from our server and start passing them forward. So then we are going to want to do, we already did I already did weapon class, if I'm not mistaken. No, so we've done container class. He does not seem to understand what he is. And for some reason my freaking, what's it called, isn't working over here. Whew. No commands. My IntelliSense does not seem to be working on this file. Why is my IntelliSense not working? Hold on, let's... Oops. Wrong guy. We want to do Nix development here. It's code. So let this load here. Because it didn't seem to load this one guy before. Okay, but we can look at... We got our container class data. There we go, now he's pissed. So you are going to be a container, but you don't even know what a container class is yet, do you? Resource is just going to be resource. Weapon class is going to be weapon. Name. Container here. Who's angry here? Resource class. Oops. Resource class data here is not happy. Why are you not happy, sir? There, now you're happy. Scroll down here. This will need to be an option now. And then string to damage type list actually needs to be string to, here, let's go to this definition now. String to damage type list. So we actually don't want this here, this guy. So string and map to, we don't want a damage type list, we want a damage type set. So we're going to rename this. And you are going to be taking in this map. But if your length is 0, then we do set dot empty. Otherwise here, we split on this. We then list of array. So it can treat the we want set of array probably. And we'll do set.map. Okay, so now we'll come out with a set, string and map to damage type set. Yeah, so you give it a string. And really, I want to rename this actually. It really should be map and map and string. Okay. That looks good to me. So then I can use this to make a set. So string to damage type set. So it takes in the damage type data, which is a set. So we should say, so it takes in the damage type set and it goes ahead, it transfers it into a and actually that's a great question. Can I do actually I guess you do need a function to map it. So it takes in a set and produces a map, and then it takes that map. And actually, do I even need a map now that I have a set? With a set, can you index into a set? I don't think you can. Hold on. Exists. Is like a try, like a find? Guess not. Okay. That's okay. So map and string to damage type set. We get string to damage type set. Good. And then down here, what do we got? So magic skill data. Yep, we should change that too. So I go over to magic skill. We really should be taking in only sets of this kind of stuff. We're gonna get better about this because it really, using the correct types here for our data is gonna make this way easier on us. So it should be a damage type set. And I'm sure we're going to piss something else off in here when we do this, but whatever. So then he's angry. This expression was expected to have type damage type list. No, you aren't. You still think you're a list. Why do you think you're a list? You are... Yeah, okay, so this is important. So we don't want to be creating an entire magic skill, we just want to make the data here. So actually, this is kind of right. It still should be a set though, because we don't want duplicates. And then for magic skill data, it still should be a set. So then this data is over here. Takes in a name, takes in a magic resource. And a magic resource has what is a magic resource? Okay, that's fine. So that gets us out our magic skill data as a set. Good. So it should be set.map. Okay. Container is not defined. Really? You are definitely defined, my dude. Are you not defined at the top of this, though? What? Did I... What? That was weird. Make Fogent roleplay data. What are you talking about? It's right up here. Oh, you know what? I'm being stupid. We're off an indent. So we can get rid of all this now, I think. And then we can just convert this to float row. And then what is the name of our header? Volume. And this will produce out a container list, and then we can say okay, and then this guy here can just be a container, and this can be a container set. Let's actually use Vim. How about that? And then, how do we jump to the beginning of a line? I know B does that. Okie dokie. So now we have our container class. Let's commit this. Imported new container. And actually, let's go ahead here and people are messaging me. What's going on? Okay. Whew. We have the container now. I also want to do the we can do our weapon resource class here. Okay. So I think this is just a problem with this weird indentation. And now resource dice, yeah. It's no longer resource dice, it's actually, what is it now? Oh, this thinks it's a weapon right now because I have not imported. Open Fogent roleplay lib dot weapon resource. And then it still thinks it's a weapon. You are a weapon resource set, actually. No repeats. Is that not what? Yeah, it's a dice pool mod. Oh, is it one of these things here? Where it needs to be indented. No. Weird. What's going on here? The record field contains inconsistent types. So you're producing out for me a row into a weapon resource. Is that not how you specify in a lambda? I thought in a lambda that's how you can express out. Maybe I'm wrong. How to express a return type with a lambda? F sharp, how to express a return type with a lambda. I don't think you can without some sorcery, so we're going to leave this for now. But I don't think that's really our problem. That's fine. So let's just make sure all these match up then. So then we have a resource class. We have a resource name. That's for one thing. And I don't think it's a range, it's a range option now. And then damage type is a damage type set. and then we have an area of effect, and it should also be an area of effect set. Or option. There we go. Now everything's happy. Okay, so dot of list. Beautiful. And then resource class map. Okay. So now we have our weapon resource coming in. Putting in weapon resource now. Next we can do item tier here. I know we don't even need rune slots anymore here. Okay. So this thinks it's a skill. It doesn't realize it's an item tier. So let's go ahead and add item tier here. Open Fogent roleplay dot item tier. He's all happy now. He is going to be a set though. Dot of list. So then here, this will also be a set of sequence. And then we can just say read in item tier data. Okay. We don't want to do item yet. We want to do a lot of this other stuff first. So as for conduit class, I don't want to deal with conduit class right now. I really want to do this other stuff. Defense class. This is where what we're going to want to do here is get into these effects here, because we're going to have to read in a bunch of these. Though I do think let's say weapon resource set. We can move this up. And keep kind of some of the same logic together, because we're kind of defining item classes here. So then refactoring. Okay, And then I guess we should do, but I see, so my thought process is container or conduits should actually probably be an effect that you can apply onto something, either as a character effect or as an item effect. So I'm gonna use the restroom quick, I'll be right back. Okay. So we are back. I think what we're gonna do, let's start passing this data forward, but it's not really, it's a good question. What do we end up passing forward? Yeah, see, we want to pass forward items like in their entirety, so we're gonna have to resolve some of these things here. So I do think the next thing we gotta resolve is start getting into effects. We gotta start resolving effects. Yeah. And one thing I just realized we can do here is we can say let make Fogent roleplay set file name mapping function. And then here we can rename this guy and this guy's just gonna call make roleplay data list. We give it the file name, we give it the mapping function, but we're going to go ahead and pipe it into set.of_list. And then what's cool is all these places down here, we don't have to say this. We can just say set See, this should also be a set, though. This shouldn't be a list. Cool. F# how to convert a set into a map. See, actually what I'm considering here is like, do I even need, because I'm always ending up with a map of these. Why don't I just read in data and then produce out maps? Like just produce out dictionaries. Instead of doing the step in between where I bring it to a set first, why even do that? That's actually a really good question because like I end up using the map here more than anything. And so why am I doing this extra step here? That's a really good question. Hold on. Let's see here. Fixed some naming. Let's see. Can I do this without and just produce the map and not have to worry about anything else? I think that would simplify our code a lot over here, actually. Typo fixing. Ooh, if I can frickin' spell. Typo fixing. And I do believe the best way to do this, yeah, we want to actually have a maybe I'm getting too ambitious right now. Like, we don't even use weapon class data anywhere else except for right here. So I can at least just, so this is my weapon class data. And like, okay, so like what this should actually be is it should make a set. And then this stuff here can just move up here. We can just move this, yank this, paste it. And then we don't need this. And then this can just become and then that's just the weapon map. And we don't need to declare more stuff here that we really don't end up using anywhere. We just map our set to a sequence. That honestly seems a lot cleaner. And we can do this for like everything up here. Because we end up just wanting the map. Like, we just want to be able to read in stuff and convert it over, like, whenever in the CSV file it says this weapon class, we just want to be able to convert that to a type, and then we're good. So a lot of this stuff can get simplified. So like this here, we don't need this. Set.map. We don't need this down here anymore. And then map of sequence. So V. Actually, can I just do Shift V here? No, it does the entire line. So I can do V, end of line, delete, paste this here, delete this here. And then this can get turned to a set. This is the stupidest syntax I don't like this syntax here. I don't like this. We can just say, grab this, sum. Code cleanup. What other maps can we replace here? I'm sure there's quite a few. Yeah, see, like this right here, it only gets used. Like this gets used to make that. So why am I even defining this in the first place? Yeah, this is stupid. Just compose them together to make the thing you actually need, and let's stop screwing around here. String to damage type set. And then we can just delete all this. So it grabs that. It converts it to a map. And then it feeds that map to this. See, like this here, it only gets used right here. So why don't I just make the map and stop screwing around? So here, we'll do this. So we take this. Then we can just go down here. And we can just delete till end of line. And then all we do is we grab the data, we convert it to a map, and then we feed that map to that. Okay, perfect. And that's what we want, baby. Less lets is always a good thing. Again, these only get used in one place. That's a good question. Sure, how to. How to pipe multiple parameters. Schmeagle, no. No, Schmeagle, no. Schmeagle want to hop up into lab, but we are not doing that right now. So we can just do calculated range. Oh, Schmeagle. What is it, buddy? No, not right now, dude. We are in the zone. See, I want to be able to pipe this. Because I just want to wrap everything is my whole thing. Can I do this? Or is that going to get angry at me too? It appears that it is. So wait, if I just treat... Because can I do... And then just do... So that works. So then could I do like... Could I push this here? Or is that going to get very angry at me? It looks like it's getting very angry. Might be over-optimizing a little bit. I'm sure people watching this are like, you think? I mean, the only other thing I can think of doing, we could use this operator. We could use the, so this takes in a tuple, and we can separate things here. I don't know if this is technically cleaner at this point. This might be making it more confusing. So we can do this. And then... Oh, I do not know if I like that. That works, but I do not know if I like that. I do not know if I like that, if I'm being real. Yeah, you can't get away from the boys here. Sure, why not? We can always change it back if we need to. But again, I'm trying to avoid doing these lets where we don't need them. Because if you want to understand what this data is here that's going on, you can just look at create range map here and it says, oh, calculate ranges and range calculations. There's no need to define a let for each of these. I think. Okay. And then we have a range option map here. That looks good to me. Whew. And then we got resource map. We did a nice thing there already. Attribute and core skill. Attribute data. We don't need to use this one anymore. We have the set one. So we can take care of all of this here. Looking good. And then we can go ahead. So we have attribute data here. We're going to rename this to attribute name set. And then core skill data. And see, this is an interesting thing here where like I don't know if I should be passing this as a core skill here because I'm having to run a dice pool calculation without the context of the entire skill at this point. So I'm kind of wondering if I should just pass like core skill data across the wire and then deal with the calculation over there. It's a good question. In the attribute map here. Now this, I actually do have to do this here. But this is making an attribute name map. And then map and string to attributes. And this guy relies, he has an attribute map and an input. And see, I'm gonna bet this is like identical to the damage type one up here. Where's the damage type one? Yeah, like, okay. These are doing like the exact same logic. I'm pretty sure. So we should probably just make that one function instead of two. Where was it again? Map and string. And this one is like a little bit of a more sophisticated where it filters out the white space and then it does this. So I'm actually thinking we take this here. Regardless, this shouldn't be here. This should be over here somewhere. So if I go here and I paste this. Oh. So instead of saying map, so it could be map and string to map key or map value. Because we can generalize this a lot. So then instead of an attribute map, we could just say map, and it is a map of a, and actually, can't we just get rid of this? Doesn't need to be all this. It'll figure out its own type. And then, oh, I guess it doesn't know. Boy, it has to actually give some context here. And then attribute string item yeah, we gotta actually constrain this here. Okay, so then let me grab all this stuff again. So this can be a map, but it's going to be a map of a string to a string. So it maps map and string to that. Split on these. It'll call map. And it's returning a list. I'd like this to do this with a set. So then this can go from string filter. Split is going to return out an array. So then we can do set of array. And then we can map here. Yeah, and see, these are doing the same things. I might want to have a case here to check if it's empty, because if I try to call split on a so we might want to do a check here just to make sure that it's not of 0 length. So we can do here is combine these two basically. So if input dot length is equal to 0, then set dot empty, else we go ahead here and we does it not understand what length is? Does not understand. Do I need to specify here that this is a string? Thought it already knew. So else, if it's an empty set, then we turn an empty set. Else, we filter it and we actually do stuff on it. And then what's cool is we don't need this anymore. And then we don't even need this anymore. This can get moved up to our string utils. And I know this will probably be angry, but now we can open up. Do we have string utils open? Open Fogent roleplay lib dot string utils. Oh, dirty here. Then we can go down here, and then map and string to value set. Perfect. And then we go down here. Refactored some code. So we just removed like 7 or 8 lines, nice. And we simplified our logic and expanded this guy out. This doesn't have to be a string though. This doesn't have to be a string. This could be like an A. Is it A this to denote an ambiguous type? I forget. How do I do it in F#? There's a way. I actually have a function here that does that. I believe it's this one. Yeah, you do this in front, so you do like that. So it doesn't really care what the return is, it just is going to return a set of that, which is really cool. Better typing for util function. Okay. Let's start passing this data over the wire here. So we do have the magic skill map. Or we should, do we not? Doop-a-doop-a-doo. And see, one additional way we could make this even better is we could, this I just crossed my mind, because what magic skill data is, hi Schmeagle, you can hop up in my lap, of course you can. Of course you can hop up in my lap. Always. Always, sir. How are you? Can you guys see the schmagoon? Doop-a-doop-a-doo. So one way we could do it is we could actually make it so that the magic skill data here, if I hover over this, so it just has the name as well as the there might be a clever way to do this where essentially we make a magic skill the combination of a magic skill data, whatever we end up renaming it to, and just an underlying skill. And maybe the underlying skill shouldn't have a name. That might be an interesting idea. Because that way we could completely decouple our... We'll have to think about it here. Schmeagle, what are you doing? Trying to get comfortable? Trying to get comfortable. Trying to get comfortable. Good dog. Good boy. I'm gonna pause there. I've been streaming for over an hour here. I gotta go prepare for my TTRPG game. So, actually running a Fogent. So I'm gonna end the stream there. Next time we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start moving over data. I do think there's an interesting thought here where it might be worth it to make it so that when this data comes over, why does this not, oh. That we might want to make it so that when this data comes across the line, we don't want it to have anything associated with the dice pool and stuff, because that calculation has to happen over on the character sheet where it has all that information. That being said, if we could figure out, because what we pass across the wire 100% will be a part of that skill, because it'll define things like its governing attributes and its name. We should see if there's a way to extract out that information and make that part of the skill type, so that when we pass it across, we can just plug it right in, and then we just do our calculation, and then everything works. So, okay, I'm going to take Schmeagol. I'm going to put him down. And actually, he's going to get a walk here in a second, but I'm going to put him down. Ugh. I'm going to end the stream. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Peace.